So the maxim of the week this week is on a particular word that I want you guys to really think about, because most people have this, especially right out of the block. And the name of this is Dow Lik. Dow Lik. Okay? So the maxim of the week we're going to talk about is actually a concept that has a couple of cousins, so to speak. And those cousins are Tamda and Pada, but we're not going to get into those today. We're going to stick with Dow Lik, okay? And Dow Lik is interpreted as struggling force. So you want to think of Dow Lik as struggling force. A lot of beginners have it. A lot of people that are not beginners have Dow Lik. And let me give you the definition, or a definition, I should say, of Dow Lik, okay? So Dow Lik is this. Other than struggling force, being strong and trying to use muscle and having a lot of tension in your arms when you're engaged with an opponent, which is definitely bad when you're doing Wing Chun, there's a longer definition of Dow Lik. So that's where this definition is here. When there is an opportunity to hit, so you write this down, when there is an opportunity to hit, then you should hit. When there is an opportunity to hit, then you should hit. But if your punch is blocked, when there's an opportunity to hit, you should hit. But if your punch is blocked, then don't attempt to complete the blow improperly. Dow Lik, struggling force. When there is an opportunity to hit, then you should hit. But if your punch is blocked, then don't attempt to complete the blow improperly. Now, there's a lot going on in this particular definition, in this maxim, so I'm going to talk about the pieces of this. Number one is struggling force. Okay, I need a volunteer up here so you can see this visually. Anybody want to volunteer for that? Okay, stay right here. Stay right here. Stay right here. No, come forward. There. Struggling force is if I'm in an altercation with this person. I'm going to break this down on a micro level and a macro level. I'm going to break it down on a micro level, meaning I'm going to just dissect a couple of pieces out of a possible altercation, and that way you can actually see the struggling force. That's very simple, so it would be a nice example for you. If we're in an altercation and he throws a punch and we're here, and see how I'm grabbing on, I'm holding, and my bicep muscles engaged and everything, and I'm trying to hold on, and he throws another punch, and I'm like this, and we're struggling and all this kind of stuff. Well, that's an obvious example of Dow Lik, struggling force, okay? On a very macro scale. It's very obvious that we're struggling with each other. Now, it doesn't have to be such a grotesque example of Dow Lik, okay? Dow Lik can also mean that if we're sophisticated people, okay, and we've been practicing this for a while, and we're here, or maybe we're both in Monsal, we're here, okay? You can't really see this, you have to feel it. I feel his energy going that way instead of towards my core. So I'm going to show him, and I'm going to be even stronger, and I'm going to push him back towards that way, and he's struggling back towards me. Okay, it's whoever has the strongest deltoid muscle over here is going to win that struggling match. Now, to you guys, and maybe the camera, it didn't look like we were doing a whole lot. We were just standing there. But man, it was like a backwards arm wrestling competition, okay? Instead of this way, it was on the backside, okay? That is struggling force. Instead of me struggling with his force, or being Dow Lik, I should take the path of least resistance and allow him to go in the direction of his tension and his force. If his tension is wanting to go that way, towards the wall, then by all means, I'm going to get out of the way. Instead of struggling back and forth, and having that Dow Lik and that tension, instead of that, when he goes this way, I'm just going to go straight forward. The Hyun Sao movement, the Jiao Sao movement that you guys learned, aids you in spiraling forward, getting out of the way of that tension, and just letting them go that way. Okay? So instead of us being struggling force, see who's stronger, to heck with who's stronger, just go to the core or the center line of your opponent and make contact and hit your opponent. Instead of struggling out here and playing with hands between us two, I need to get to the core. Alright? So instead of struggling back and forth, if he goes that way, I go to the core. And his hand, as you know, went from here that way. Okay? If he's struggling here and he wants to push me down and go ahead and behead me, push me down. Oh, I'm not going to let you push me down. I'm not going to let you push me down. Struggling. My bicep is engaged. I'm struggling. Instead, get out of the way. Okay? Get out of the way. Take the path of least resistance. Thank you. Appreciate that. So, that is an example of the struggling force idea. Okay? The struggling force idea of Dow Lik. Now, let's talk about the other part. The long definition of when there is an opportunity to hit. When there is an opportunity to hit. There was a man named Leong Jan, Dr. Leong Jan. He was the teacher of Chan Chun. His son was Leong Bik, the teachers of Ip Man. Okay? The teachers of Ip Man. Leong Jan noticed one thing about the British boxers. The boxers that were not truly boxers, they were just sailors. And they made contact with the Kung Fu men in southern China. One thing about them, he noticed, was that they, at every opportunity, the larger, stronger sailors would hit. The larger, stronger sailors would hit at every opportunity. So, that's what this is saying here. When there is an opportunity to hit, you should hit. If there's not an opportunity to hit, just on the flip side of that coin, if there's not an opportunity to hit, don't just wildly throw something out there to try and hit. Okay? The reason is because if you do that, you're going to create large openings on you that your opponent can easily exploit and hit you. Okay? So when there's an opportunity, that's when you hit. If there's not, don't try and create an opportunity. Alright? So when there's an opportunity to hit, you should hit. But if your punch is blocked, don't attempt to complete the blow improperly. You should instead flow around that block to something else. That's why you don't ball up your fists and go like this. Okay, I'm going to make this punch no matter what. No, because if you get blocked or redirected, then you're just going to careen out of control and not be able to recover. So instead, relax all the way to your opponent's head or jaw, and then at the moment of impact, that's when you convulse the hand, that's when you send the force into the opponent. Okay? But if you get blocked, don't try and force that through once you get blocked. Just abandon that punch and flow on to the next one. Okay? Flow on to the next thing. And that way, you're not being Dow Lik. Okay? Any questions on this maxim? No? All right. Well, very good. That is the Wing Chun maxim of the week, Dow Lik.